Praise the Lord, everybody. This is going to be a direct message to the careful atheist. Sorry, yes, the video was long. I didn't really want it to be that long. It ended up being that long because I was trying to go through that whole list. I'm going to make this one a bit shorter. I saw your video, and like I said, I agree with what you're saying as far as doing your homework. I have done my homework. But the thing is as what I said in the last video, is what you accuse me of, you do yourself. Because even in my video, I said, okay, these similarities have a starting point, as in who brought them to attention. And through my research, the name that had come up the most was Gerald Massey, as the person that brought these things to the forefront. In the paper in which you originally listed, he was one of the people, and Tom Harper quotes from Gerald Massey a lot. The thing is that Gerald Massey and his stuff, where he got his information from, he doesn't provide a source, nor is he recognized as anybody of any prominence in Egypt, in the knowledge of Egypt and its ancient religions or things like that. And also that all the claims he made were dismissed by those ahead of him. This whole Horus and Jesus thing, you have to go back, and this is why I said in my video, look at the story of Horus to see if what everyone is claiming fits into the story. Period. There are a lot of texts that people associate with Horus that is not associated with him. They are associated with other gods. Case in point, the resurrection. Horus was never killed and resurrected. He himself, his father was, and he wasn't even really resurrected. He was put together. I've looked into, personally, myself, the Oxford Encyclopedia on Egypt, of the story of Horus, of the story of Osiris, of the story of Isis. In none of them, only one that has the resurrection is Osiris. And in that, as I explained in the very first video, there are 2 points of which they say he died. Buried in a coffin and drowned, hacked to pieces by Set, in which Isis puts him together, makes a golden penis to have sex with. All of these are consistent. I also have the rise and fall of Egypt, ancient Egypt here, ancient Egypt civilization, the Egyptians, and another book called The Egyptians, which may be the same book, I don't know. But anyway, I have all these things in which I'm going to research. I'm going to further also research and go to the library and get books, more books that deal with Egyptology, the whole thing, as far as those that are the top brass within this particular field. And those that are the top brass in this particular field do not agree with those who continue to claim that there is a similarity between Horus and Jesus. Even in the paper, again, that you listed, it said that there is no evidence that Isis was a virgin. There was no evidence that Horus had 12 disciples. And there was no evidence that Horus was an incarnation of God. And he asked 20 Egyptologists these questions, and 10 of them who felt the need to respond said this. So yes, I will do my homework, and as you see, I am doing my homework. The thing is you have to do your homework on where these claims originated from and who did they originate from. Because someone brought them to the forefront. It wasn't something that was always considered to be the truth. So therefore you have to look at who brought them to the forefront and why. Also, when you look at it, you have I think it's called the Zetigus movie, is the one movie that everyone says these sources are coming from. And everyone who says, well, these are where the sources are coming from. So then you have to look at the information of who brought those sources. And a lot of the people who brought these sources, a lot of the references to that movie are people who follow the teachings or follow what Gerald Massey himself brought to the forefront. So you have a certain circle of people who promote this Jesus and Horus. So then you have to look into these certain amount of people who promote this, and I give it to you to look into them to find out who they are, whether or not do they have any credentials in the field of what they are saying. Is what they said to be true? Is the way they translate it or the way they bring things? Because you say interpretations, but this is exactly what they bring, is their own interpretation of what the pyramid texts say. And not exactly what is being taught or what it is actually saying. So again, and I bring this back to you. I'm not going to make this long. I bring this back to you. Is for you to do your homework, because I have done my homework, and as I've stated in all of my videos of my homework and the things that have been said, we have to look at the story itself of Horus and the story itself of Christ. And to see from each story, where are these similarities coming from and what are they? And how much of a significance are they? Because there are major things that you really can't bring as a significance. And I'm not even going to go into all of that because it's pointless. But, and I only give this back to you because, like I said, it's evident to me that what you tell me to do, you also have to do, because you haven't brought anything new to the plate. You've only, again, went to a website that is a skeptic website, or pretty much someone that promotes something that is way out there. And I think the website you put in there was David Icke's, who believes in the reptilian people and stuff like that. So this is the website you promote and that you gave, and the person that you gave obviously got his information from the same movie and from the same sources everyone is getting this information from. There are at least, I think, five authors who continue to promote this under their own publishing company. Some of them are self-published books, and I know one of them is Tom Harper, Gerald Massey. One of them begins with the A. I don't know how you say it, Acryla S or something like that. And I think two other, which use this whole Horus and Jesus thing to bring to the forefront. So it is in searching out them, as I told you before, as Gerald Massey and his claims were all dismissed. I have done my homework. I really have. It's not a matter of do I need to. And as you see and as I showed, I will be doing more extensive homework. This is not something a pastor or church has told me myself. I didn't come into knowing about the Jesus and Horus myth until recently myself, when I saw it online and someone made the claim. And so I have done things to give the research, because as I said, as you say, when you first see it, you have a little bit, okay, what's this about? And then I will check into it and look about it and read up on it and research it. But I have gone extensively in the research to find out exactly where it originated from, which is what you have not done, which is what you have not proposed. You have taken these similarities and assumptions as face value. I don't think you've actually looked into it yourself. And so far, out of everything I've read concerning Horus, Osiris, and Isis, holds true to everything I've already said about them. And I will do some further research. There's a book that deals with the pyramid text that I will get out and I will read. And it's part of the people that are the top brass in Egyptology that I will get out, search, and look up myself. In the meantime, I encourage you to do the same thing. This is not a question of coming at things with skepticism, because I do come at it with skepticism. I just come at the claims that you say are true with skepticism, as you come at the claims that I say is true as skepticism. So we have to meet halfway, and the only way we can meet there is looking at the actual story of both Horus and Jesus. And if we get, the whole story, and see where we are when it comes to the similarities and where we are when it comes to the differences. Because so far everyone has been agreed upon that the similarities that hold true from both ends is that they were of royal blood, that they both were pursued in fact of being murdered, and I think that they were both called like the Son of God, which which is what it would be, because Horus is Osiris' son. But anyway, we have to look at the story, and I said this in my last video. We have to look at the story, not going off of what anyone said, because the information that you promote as being true came from somewhere, and those people and that information has to be looked at. Also, you're taking it as face value as being truth, and you're not looking into those who are the top brass of that field and seeing if that is what they concur with. So again, like I said, I accepted your video. Why? Because I like you, and I believe you like me too. And we have interesting conversations, and the conversation we had on Skype was a good conversation. And I enjoyed it, and I look to having more with you. But I just have to tell you, bud, that this is not an issue of what I was taught from a church. Most of the things that I've come to knowledge of is not something that was taught from a church. There are certain doctrines that I received from the church, but my belief and my faith is from outside of that. And truly, I look into everything. I read up onto everything, and I study everything that I need to study. I'm not taking anything as face value, and because of your challenge, I have done my research, and I am doing 4. I just challenge you to do the same thing. Do your homework. Don't just take that someone said there are similarities between Jesus and Horus at face value because they say, hey, Horus battled a snake, Jesus battled Satan. Hey, Horus was born of a god, and Jesus was born of God. Hey, Horus was born of the Virgin Isis, and Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary. Look at the story itself and see which one actually claims these to be true. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're looking at. Which story claims these things? If the story of Horus claims that Horus was born of a virgin, does it claim that Horus was resurrected? He died for 3 days, resurrected, and ascended up into heaven. Does it claim this within the story of Horus itself? This is what we have to look at. This is the challenge. And I don't think you're really holding up to that end of the challenge. You are taking what someone else said as face value because of your own worldview and what you want to believe as being true. You don't want to believe that God is real, and you want to believe that Christians stole their sources from other religions. So because of that, you readily accept what they claim as being similarities. And like you said in your old video, you said, where did these similarities come from? And that's what I'm asking you. Who brought these similarities to the forefront? Who are they in order to establish if what the things are being claimed are true? And that's my challenge back to you. And maybe we can have this discussion. I don't really want to do another video in regards to this. So if we want to talk about this outside on Skype or whatnot, we can talk about this. But like I said, I will be doing my reading. So far, what I've read about Horus has been true as to what I've been saying all along. So you say evidence. Well, I'm getting evidence. I'm looking up the evidence. And so far, what I've said provides evidence to what I was saying as true versus the evidence you have given so far have been from skeptics and those who don't believe, who got their evidence from that Zeitgeist movie and who got their evidence from certain people in the field that are not Egyptologists and nowhere near of that level. And when it comes down to what everybody else thought of their things, these are people who aren't even named in the top brass of Egyptology. So in that regards, let's go ahead, and if we want to have another discussion about this, we can have it outside. I don't want to make any more videos to this because I believe that I have enough evidence to support my claims because I am looking at the source of things. I am not looking at what people say. I am looking at the source of it all. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Praise Him.